So it's finally time to build a new gaming PC, in which how can you not be excited? And for this one, I'm going to be building a mid-range build with the Ryzen 5 9600X and the RTX 5060 Ti, which is honestly the only combo that isn't ridiculously priced, at least where I am in Canada right now. And of course, we gotta make this beautiful, minimal, and aesthetic looking, so we're going for an all-white build, which I think looks better than black personally. But yeah, before we talk about any of the parts, which is just boring, let's just jump straight into the building phase because I can't wait any longer.
Why'd you even call me up when I never wanna see ya? I'm just on my way back home, little drunk and alone, but I'd rather click ya. Even though it's Friday night and I got no plans tomorrow, I could use a bam bam bam, but it's not from you, cause I'm not that hollow. Baby, let it be. You could try to sweet talk all you want, but I ain't that lonely. Baby, let it be. Forget your rules, forget your shoes. I've done everything you asked, but I wasted time. Forget your truth, you're just cool. I swear anything's better than you. Catch you on the flip side.
And boom, there she is in all her glory, and I think it looks absolutely stunning, especially the fact that I actually managed to source a white GPU this time. And yes, even though the motherboard is black, I think it adds a really nice contrast as a sort of like a black and white panda theme. But yeah, it's beautiful, and excuse my voice because I think I woke up with a little bit of a sore throat, so hopefully I'm not getting sick. But yeah, this has just got to be the easiest PC build that I've ever done in my life because it didn't take that much time, I didn't need any manuals, and all the parts were super duper intuitive to put together, which is great. And it's crazy how manufacturers like MSI have evolved over the years to make the building process so simple with a bunch of neat tricks. And yeah, this actually turned on, everything worked first try, which I'm really proud of, so that's good. But anyways, let's actually talk about the build and all the components that I've chosen. And if you didn't already catch on, there are a lot of MSI components in here, which I'm so grateful for MSI Canada for sponsoring and helping out with this little PC build project, as they have been an amazing channel partner and I love working with their team, not to mention their amazing selection of components that truly have so much thought behind it. We gotta start off with this big case, of course, though, which is called the MSI MPG GUNGNIR 300R Airflow in white. It's just a standard ATX size that is very normal, and I have the white version over here, which looks super duper clean and minimal, although there is a black version you can buy if you prefer that, and it honestly looks very similar to the excellent pre-built PC from MSI I reviewed earlier in the year, in which it does stack up some awesome components for a very good price, especially on sale if you don't want to build a PC yourself, so make sure to check out that video here if you're interested. But anyways, the front panel has this angular design that still makes it look gamery without being too obnoxious, and as a bonus, it's a mesh design, so it's much better for airflow compared to a tempered glass panel. I absolutely love that it includes 4 great ARGB fans already pre-installed in the case as well, which means you don't need to spend extra money buying other case fans, not to mention these are all wired in beautifully for you, especially if they're built-in RGB hub. That just made my life so much easier, just like the front panel connectors as well. It also supports a full 360mm radiator in the top with some really good clearance, so it's not that hard to install. There are magnetic dust filters on the top and the bottom. You still get your hard drive trays and plenty of SATA SSD mounts, and also something you don't see quite a lot is the GPU support bracket that lights up with RGB as well. It's super useful to be able to support larger cards, and you do get quite a bit of adjustments as well. But yeah, overall great case, and it doesn't break the bank at all either, as it's around $120 after rebates or $160 if you're in Canada. Anyways, moving on to the motherboard, which connects all the components in the case. This is actually a super duper popular option you'll see on many buying lists because of how great of a deal this is with all its features at $210 USD or almost $300 in Canada. So first of all, I love how the case came with the exact standoffs pre-installed, so it was super easy to get this motherboard on, but it does come with easy features too, like a toolless M.2 shield cover that was so easy to remove, not to mention not even needing a screw to install the M.2 SSD. Even when installing the graphics card, you get a button you can press to
release or lock the port, which is awesome, just like the pre-installed IO shield, so you won't forget to install it before putting it in the case. And just speaking on the port situation in the back, I absolutely love how many USB-C ports are there, which are awesome. Not to mention, you get a 5 gig Ethernet port, and it includes antennas in the box that supports Wi-Fi 7, which means it's super duper fast and you get a stable connection. There's also a lot of protection built into the motherboard too, like built-in solid pin designs, overcurrent protection, and a grounding structure so you can have a peace of mind. And there are also plenty of built-in heat sinks across the board too, which not only makes it look more clean, but is also better for cooling as well, in which I did forget to mention that the M.2 does have a cooling pad behind it as well. And just for some specs, this is the most recent AM5 B850 board that supports all the new Ryzen CPUs, and as for the RAM, it does go up to 8400 mega transfers per second for DDR5 RAM, not to mention support for 4 M.2 SSDs, including 2 PCIe 5 ones as well, which is honestly a lot of support, and just it's an awesome deal for the price, not to mention some easy to use AI overclocking and optimization tools you can play around with in the BIOS. And at the heart of this motherboard is the classic AMD Ryzen 5 9600X with 6 cores and 12 threads. I mean, it's popular for a reason because it comes in at just under 200 USD or 300 Canadian, which is just the perfect sweet spot as it pairs beautifully with any mid-range GPUs, not to mention being pretty much all you need for productivity or gaming, as most people don't really need the Ryzen 7 or 9 series CPUs. Going with this AM5 platform CPU also means that hopefully it is an easy upgrade path in the future, and AMD is still king in terms of multi-core performance, and the only reason I would ever consider Intel right now because of the pricing is if you're a video editor like me and can make use of QuickSync technology. And to cool this CPU, which in all honesty won't get that hot, I have a totally overkill 360mm liquid cooler, which you definitely don't need and can get away with a cheap air cooler that's like under 50 bucks. But hey, if you care more about aesthetics, I think a 360mm AIO looks the best, especially with this beautiful one from MSI with that incredibly cool infinity mirror design on the CPU block. I really love the ones on the pre-built system, which look insane as well, so I wish they sold that as a standalone product. But yeah, these are great with its high efficiency pumps, not to mention its loop dynamic bearing fans, which are super low friction for improved lifespan, not to mention being a lot quieter. Also, installing this was so easy on the motherboard because the bracket was already pre-installed on the back, and this specific AIO uses one bracket for both Intel and AMD CPUs, which is super neat. This is actually around like $150 in the US and in Canada as well, so it's not a bad deal. Anyways, moving on to our RAM and storage, I think 32 gigs is the perfect sweet spot for most people right now, and the best deal I could find was honestly the TEAMGROUP T-Force Delta kit, which runs at a frequency of 6000 megahertz with a CL30 timing for around 100 bucks or 135 Canadian. I think it also matches with the design of the components perfectly as well, which is why I also chose it. And as for the SSD, I actually didn't even realize that MSI made SSDs until I was scrolling through retailers to buy one for this build, and for $100 or 150 Canadian for a 2TB M.2 SSD, it's actually quite a steal considering it does 6000 megabits per second read and 5000 megabits per second write, which is often slightly cheaper than other big competitors and still has a nice 5-year warranty. I didn't choose a PCIe 5 SSD for this build though because I don't think most people actually need it, and it's still really expensive even though our motherboard can support it. And finally, we get to the GPU, which I just know I'm gonna get flamed in the comments for my choice of the RTX 5060 Ti, in which I know these new RTX 50 series cards are not great value, but bro, it's impossible to source anything here in Canada, much less a white graphics card that actually looks decent, not to mention the insane pricing on everything, even though it has slightly come down from the start of the year. I managed to buy this MSI one on Amazon before it sold out everywhere, and it just looks absolutely stunning, classic of MSI graphics cards. Their attention to detail is actually insane, especially with their beautiful backplates, a super clean side profile, and more RGB even in the front. And fun story, I was actually at the live keynote event during CES in Vegas, so I actually got to learn a lot about the improvements that the new 50 series of graphics card bring, which I would love to explain to those of you guys who are unfamiliar right now. So first is DLSS 4 and its use of AI to generate fake frames, which have been so controversial, but honestly speaking, after seeing it live in person of the demos, it's honestly quite impressive and hard to tell a difference, in which it's only going to get better as the tech progresses, so let's just wait and see. But the main point is, DLSS 4 can now generate up to 3 additional frames per traditionally rendered frame compared to the singular one from DLSS 3, which significantly increases the frame rates even with ray tracing turned on. And if you do want a deeper dive, my close friend John has an amazing video about this with real hands-on time inside NVIDIA's booth at CES. Anyways, another feature is the updated NVIDIA Reflex 2, which reduces the latency of your mouse inputs and movements by up to 75%, which would be really good for competitive gaming, and especially for those of you guys who play FPS shooters, because how it works is by updating a rendered frame based on your latest mouse input right before it's sent to the display. But yeah, for creators like me who don't game a lot, the updated 5th generation Tensor cores is where it's truly at for all the massive AI performance boost and generative AI capabilities. That means for DaVinci Resolve, which is my editing software of choice, I get blazing fast performance in AI tools like AI masking, AI smart reframing, AI voice isolation, and stuff like AI IntelliScript, which generates a timeline for me based on my script, which is very, very handy, and I've been enjoying it a lot. But yeah, make sure you get the 16 gig version of the card, not the 8 GB version, as that's not enough VRAM in this day and age to run a lot of higher end games comfortably. And funny enough, it's actually more than the 12 gigs of VRAM in the 5070, although that still does perform better. So if you can find the 5070 for a little bit more on a good deal, I would definitely go with that. But man, you just can't find any AMD cards anywhere. It's honestly crazy and so unfortunate here in Canada. And finally, to end off our list of components, we got this beautiful white silverish power supply called the MAG A850GL, and man, it looks so good, although you can't really see it when it's in the case anyways. I do love how it's 80+ gold certification though, which means it's quite efficient, and for this specific model, it's actually ATX 3.0 compatible, which in short is like a new standard built specifically to tackle the spikes and the peaks of these powerful new GPUs, in which this one can deliver up to 600 watts in a single connection to our GPU, which is actually quite cool. But yeah, I love that it's a modular power supply that's super easy to use thanks to all the labels on our motherboard, and the fact that it has white flat cables makes it easy to manage, not to mention looking good, just like how the fan has a fluid dynamic bearing so it's quiet as well. Honestly, it's such a great pickup for $140 or 200 Canadian, although the black model is obviously going to be cheaper. But yeah, that concludes the entire list of components used for this build, in which I hope you guys like my picks, and that puts the build total to around 1582 USD or 2152 Canadian, which isn't cheap or affordable per se, but I think it gets you a beautiful looking white build that performs well for the majority of people and what they want to do. You can obviously save some money by going with a black build, or choosing to use like an air cooler instead of an AIO, or even waiting for sales days like the upcoming Amazon Prime Day or Black Friday. But yeah, personally, I'm super duper excited to have a second PC that I can use in my bedroom setup if I want to, or better yet, what I really want to do, especially when I move back to Toronto next year, is a racing simulator in which this PC would be absolutely perfect for. So definitely stay tuned for any future developments with this PC build. And once again, thank you so much MSI for making this PC build possible and being such amazing partners to work with. And of course, thank you so much for watching too. And if you're still here all the way at the end, make sure to leave a sunglasses emoji so I know you're a real one. And of course, make sure to smash a like and the subscribe button as always, and check out my other awesome content too. And on that note, have a great one, and I'll see you guys in the next one. And oh my god, I'm definitely gonna be sick. I can feel the fever coming. I'm gonna be cooked tomorrow.